Hi, Jen here. We are going back to the basics. Today, it is a makeup tutorial for beginners. It is going to be a very detailed and drugstore. And I will also give you some tips and recommendation for makeup application and products. First step, moisturizer. Before applying makeup, you need to have a clean face and do your skincare routine if you have one. And oily skin people, hear me out. I know that because our faces are very oily, we tend to avoid moisturizer. But when we do not moisturize, our skin will feel the dryness and start overproducing oils. So that's why even as a oily skin person, you should always moisturize. My current moisturizer is the Nivea Essentials 24-hour moisture boost plus refresh day cream SPF 15. I love this moisturizer during winter because it has a thick consistency. In summer, my favorite one is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost gel cream because it has a lighter consistency. And you need to let your moisturizer settle into your skin at least 10 to 15 minutes before applying your makeup. Next step, primer. The purpose of a primer is to create a barrier between your skin and the makeup. It also makes the skin smoother and adds longevity to your makeup. Note that it is not a must, and there are different types of primers. We have hydrating primers, we have mattifying primers, blurring primers, and gripping primers. Because I have oily skin, I will go in with a mattifying primer. The primer also needs to settle into the skin at least 10 to 15 minutes before applying foundation. Today, the primer I will be using is a kind of brand new one. It's the Maybelline Matte Plus Poreless Mattifying Primer, and it is a great one for people with normal to oily skin. If you have dry skin, you should look for a hydrating primer. One good hydrating primer for dry skin is the NYX Hydra Touch Primer. For oily skin, the most important part to prime is the T-zone, where we usually produce a lot of oil. I put some on my fingers and I'm going to place this on my T-zone and I try to pat it in. Try your best to press it in instead of rubbing it on your skin. So while this is sitting, we're gonna move on to the next step, which is eyebrows. The order I'm going to apply my makeup, it is not mandatory. To each their own. You have to play around with makeup to see in what order you like to apply your makeup and which techniques you like better. So again, there's no rule to makeup. For the eyebrows, the first recommendation I have is when you're choosing the shade, you should go lighter than your hair. I personally go with dark brown shades. I think black would be too bold for my face. And the other recommendation I have is choosing a pencil like the Milani Precision Brow Pencil, which comes with a spoolie. And the pencil is retractable and it is very fine. First, what I like to do is brush my brows hair up. I don't press hard on the pencil. And what I'm going to do is trace a line following the natural shape of my brows. And then I will trace the top part of my brows, and then I will fill in between the two lines doing little hair-like strokes. And at the front of my brows, I go in very lightly because I don't want it to look boxy or unnatural. After my brows are traced, what I do is I go in again with the spoolie, brushing the product to my brows, and also it's going to help me to see if I need to go back in some areas that I missed. Your brows are unidentical twins, not identical twins. They look alike, but they are not identical. So unidentical twins. I am going to clean up my brows using a concealer. What you will need for this process is a very flat concealer brush. I will tell you more about the concealer I used when we're going to use it on the face. If you've messed up with the concealer, don't worry, you can always go back with your pencil and correct it. And what I like to do is drag the concealer towards my eyelids. This helps to create a seamless blend. Some people likes to use the concealer to clean up the top part of the brows. I personally don't do that. I prefer using my foundation because I think it looks more natural. The concealer you will use to clean up under your brows should be 1 to 2 shades lighter than your skin complexion. I suggest you not going lighter than that. And I like to brush the front part of my brows so it looks less boxy. Next step, foundation. The purpose of a foundation is to even out your skin complexion. To find the right foundation shade, your foundation should match your neck and your chest. There's different types of foundation. You should choose one depending on your skin condition. There's light coverage foundation, medium coverage, full coverage. There's also hydrating foundation and mattifying foundations. Today, I will be using a medium coverage foundation, which is pretty good for oily skin as well as dry skin. It is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. The shade I have is 520 Sienna, which is a little bit too red for me, so I am going to mix it with the 510 Hazelnut. To blend out your foundation, you can use your fingers, a damp beauty sponge, or a foundation brush. I will show you the application with the damp sponge as well as with the foundation brush. This is the Real Techniques beauty sponge, and I will use this part here to blend my foundation. And whenever you blend something on your face, it could be foundation or concealer, you should always use stamping motions and not dragging it like that, all right, or swirling it, okay? So it blends in seamlessly. And really take your time to blend your foundation. This has a beautiful natural finish. It looks just like my skin, but better. I like to put the foundation on my cheek area, and then when I finish blending my face, I then go in on my nose. I don't put the foundation directly on my nose because I think it's too much. The foundation brush I'm going to use is the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. And again, I'm going to stamp the product in, not dragging it, sweeping it, swirling it. So this is the side with the sponge and the foundation. I recommend you to try both the tools so you find which one you prefer. On my forehead, I am gonna go lightly, not a lot, because I don't like a lot of foundation on my forehead. Remember when I said I use my foundation to clean up my brows? That's when I go in with a little bit of the foundation to clean the top part of my brows. Next, concealer. Its purpose is to conceal dark under eyes circle, dark spots, blemishes, hyperpigmentations. It also has the purpose to brighten, aka highlight, the areas of the face where the light usually hits the face. It would be the forehead, under the eyes, the bridge of the nose, and the chin. I also go in on my upper lip because I have hyperpigmentation there. Again, there's hydrating concealers, matte concealers, light to full coverage concealers. When you want to highlight or brighten, you should go in with a concealer that is 2 to 3 shades lighter than your skin complexion. If you're just trying to correct a dark spot, blemish, or under eye dark circles, you should go in with a concealer that is very close to your skin complexion. The concealer I am using today is the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer in the shade Honey 4 15. This concealer is full coverage. It's a matte concealer. So I go straight down my nose. I put a little bit on my forehead. I go in on my upper lips because, like I said, I have hyperpigmentation there. On my chin, just a little bit, and under my eyes. And what I do is I place it not directly under my eyes, on the side of my nose, and I bring this all the way to the corner right here. That's it. That's where I want to be highlighted. And you can either use a brush to blend out your concealer or a sponge. Today, I'm gonna keep this simple. I will go in again with the Real Techniques sponge, and I will use the clean side of it and the pointy side. When you're blending out your concealers, you wanna blend in place. You don't want it to spread out too much because that's where you need it. And I will take my time to really blend it in. If you have dry under eyes, you can try the e.l.f. Camo Hydrating Concealer. This is one very good drugstore concealer. And on my forehead, I'm trying to keep it right where it is, and I am pinching my sponge so it can be as slim, no, not slim, it can be as small as possible so it doesn't spread out the product. I'm going to do the same thing on my nose, pinch it. And I go towards my forehead with the excess of the product. To blend out under the eyes, again, try to stay in the same area so it doesn't spread out too much. When I blend under my eyes, I look up to a mirror. And the excess that is left on my sponge, I'm going to place it on my eyelid. What I like to do as well is go back with the side I use the foundation, or if it's the foundation brush, I just blend the edges so it is seamless. There's no way you can see where the concealer is starting, you know, so it all meshed together. Next step, cream bronzer / contour. This is an optional step. I love using creams because I feel like it gives a more natural look to the makeup. The purpose of bronzer is to warm up the face, whereas the purpose of contour is to add dimension to the face. So you are going to contour and bronze where we usually have shadows on our face. It is the perimeter of the face, the cheekbones, and the nose. You can use concealer to contour. Today, I am going to use a cream bronzer. This is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer in the shade Sunkissed. I will use a little fluffy angled brush. I will dip in directly in the product. Here's how you're going to know where to place your bronzer contour on your cheeks. Usually I would contour where my tragus here starts in an angle that goes towards my mouth corner. But when I do that, what happens is that you place the product here, but when you blend it, it goes down a little. The best placement is where your ears starts towards the corner of your mouth, right here. It's directly on your cheekbones. So that way, when you blend it, it's gonna go down a little, but directly under your cheekbones. And when I place down my cheek bronzer contour, I always do that little kissing face. I feel like it helps a lot. And like I said, I'm always going back with the part I use the foundation to blend any edges. On my chin and on my jawline, I go in here and then down here. Just don't go too high, keep it very low. I just drag it, I don't tap the product in. On my nose, I like to use a small brush. This is a Real Techniques smudging brush. And I go in with very little, just here on my nose. And this is also optional. I just like my nose to be a little more contoured. And again, I am blending this by tapping it. I'm going in with my sponge again, you know, just to make sure everything is blended. Usually I would use cream blushes. It is my favorite thing, but I want to keep this very simple. So next step, powders. Now it's time to set everything that's going on her face right now. First, I'm going to set my under eyes. Usually it is something I do rather quickly because I get creases under my eyes. Using powders to set under your eyes is one, to prevent creasing, and two, to prevent the product moving around. I will use the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in the shade 35D. I will use my sponge to apply the powder under my eyes and any highlighted areas because I will get a little bit more coverage with the sponge. If you have dry under eyes, I would go in with a brush because it is likely going to set under your eyes instead of packing the product like the sponge will do. Before we go in with the powder, we're going to blend out the creases. Very important because you don't want to set your creases. What I like to do is put some powder in the cap and I dip my sponge directly in the cap. I blow on it and then go on the back of my hand to distribute the product evenly. And then I go under my eyes, pressing lightly. And I'm going to repeat the same step for every highlighted areas of my face. Get on the side of your nose. If you need to pull your nose like that, do it. I am also setting my smile lines because I do get them. I even go lightly on my brows because my brows get oily too. Just lightly. I will use the same powder to set the foundation, but this time with a powder brush because like I said, when you go in with a powder brush, it gives less coverage. I am using the same powder because it has a little bit of tint, but it's not gonna alter too much. I am gonna use just a little bit so the makeup on my face doesn't move around or transfer anywhere. Next step, bronzer, the powder version. And like I said earlier, the purpose of a bronzer is to warm up the face. Contour will add dimension and structure to the face. And today I'm only gonna stick to bronzer. If you want to contour, you just have to go in the same areas where we bronzed. To bronze today, I am using the Glamour Bronze by Morphe. This is in the shade Leader, and I am going to use a angled brush. This is gonna set the cream bronzer. And for my nose, I'm using again a little brush. I usually don't like using bronzers to set my nose contour, but the Leader shade is not too warm, so it's fine. To contour my eyes, I will also use the Glamour Bronze bronzer. It is going to balance everything because we've used the bronzer everywhere else on the face. I am going to use a regular blending brush. This is one by Wet n Wild. It is so affordable. I think it's $1 or $2. I place this on my crease. I tap it first. And then I do little circular motions. I like to extend it to give me a little eye lift. Just like that, in the corner towards my brows. And I connect it to the nose contour. Do you see the difference already, what it does? My eyes looks more defined or contoured. I am a nice shadow girl and I always do something on my lids. Always. If you want to learn how to do eyeshadow, I will link a card over here so you can check out my video for beginners on how to apply eyeshadow. People who usually uses eyeliner, that's at this step that they would add the eyeliner. I don't do that because I have hooded eyes and it's too much for me. I just rarely do it. If you're looking for a good drugstore eyeliner, I would recommend the NYX Epic eyeliner. I will also go with the bronzer under my eyes. I am going to pinch my fluffy brush because I don't want it to go everywhere under my eyes. We don't want this to be too blown out under the eyes. Next step, blush. I am a blush girl. I love me some blush. The purpose of a blush is just to add more color back to the face. Today I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me blush in the shade Berry. Note that this blush has a little bit of shimmers in there. The brush I'm going to use is the Real Techniques blush brush. I am applying this first on the apples of my cheeks, working my way up towards my temples. I'm gonna go in with a little bit more because I did not use any cream blushes, and the first thing to disappear on our faces is always the blush. And I would say to build it up to the desired intensity. I don't know, there's something so cute about blush. You cannot tell me nothing. To continue with the eyes, I will be using the e.l.f. Lash It Loud mascara. It's very affordable and I love it. The glue I will use to apply my lashes is the Kiss Lash Adhesive. I will use lashes that are very affordable. These are from AliExpress and they were like $2 or $3. I buy a couple of them because it takes time to arrive here. You always need to trim your lashes so it can fit your eyes. When you cutting your lashes, I would suggest you to cut the longer part, because if you cut the first part here where it's shorter, it's not gonna give you the cat eye lashes. Measure it on your eyes before to see how much you have to cut. I am going to use the lash glue right on my skin where we usually apply eyeliner. I apply a little bit of the lash glue as well on the lash band of the lashes, just a little bit so it can really grip. You can use tweezers or your fingers to apply the lashes, and my trick is I take a mirror and I look down so I can see exactly where I need to put the lashes. Put them down in the middle first, and then I go in the outer corner, stick it down, and in the inner corner. And after that, I use the tweezers to press my real lashes with the fake lashes. But be careful because you're gonna be very close to your eyes. If you're not comfortable using tweezers to do that part, you can definitely use your fingers. Now the lashes are on. You can easily remove your lashes by using a cotton tip, some water or micellar water makeup remover, or a little bit of oil. I will use mascara on my bottom lashes, but I have to do something first. Next, setting spray. The purpose of a setting spray is to remove the powdery look of the makeup and have a more skin-like finish, and it will also add longevity to the makeup. Just like the other makeup products, setting sprays comes in different types. There's hydrating setting sprays, luminous dewy one, and mattifying setting sprays. I will use the Milani Make It Last setting spray. You need to be around 10 inches or 30 centimeters away from your face when you're spraying it, because you want it to really get in all areas of your face. It needs to be that far. It feels so refreshing. I love that part. Now I can go in and finish my lower lashes. And to apply my mascara, I like to look up so that mascara doesn't get under my eyes. Next, highlighter. Its purpose is to imitate the ray of the sunshine or the light hitting the high points of our face. So that would be the cheekbones, the inner corner, the nose, the cupid's bow, even the forehead. I personally only use it in my inner corner, the tip of my nose, the bridge of my nose, and my cupid's bow. People use it on the cheekbones and sometimes on the chin, but that's not my jam. I will be using the Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter, and I will use a detail eye pencil brush. Finally, lips. You could put on a gloss and call it a day. I like to line my lips because it's gonna contour my lips and I like that look. I will be using the NYX lip pencil in the shade Espresso. I pinch my lips together so it blends out. And the lip gloss I will be using is the Maybelline Lifter Gloss, and this one is in the shade Stone. And voila! All right, you made it to the end of this makeup tutorial for beginners. I really hope this video was helpful. If it was, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not part of my family yet, subscribe and join the squad. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you all on my next one. Bisous. Mwah.